business. They all seem to end at Chapter 11.
Democratic strategist Dave Jacobson and Republican consultant John Thomas join us now for more on this. Okay, this was an all-out assault on what many see as Trump's biggest success, one of his strengths, his business skills. And here, Clinton went after Trump for outsourcing jobs to other countries.
Trump's own products are made in a lot of countries that aren't named America. Trump ties are made in China, Trump suits in Mexico, Trump furniture in Turkey, Trump picture frames in India, Trump barware in Slovenia. And I could go on, but you get the idea.
And just a few hours ago, Trump specifically responded to that.
I want to...
And you know why? Because they devalue their currencies and they make it impossible for companies to compete. And she doesn't have to say that because I say it all the time. I say, unfortunately, my ties are made in China. And I will say this, the hats, Make America Great Again, I searched long and hard to find somebody that made the hats in this country.
Okay, the hats are made in America, that's good to know. But John, how long can Trump keep saying, hey, it was just business, it's just business, it's just business?
Well, this is his strength, and there's a reason. Hillary Clinton is throwing the kitchen sink at Donald Trump. You know, the week before, it was that his foreign policy is dangerous, and now she's trying to undermine him on his one perceived strength. I think she's going to have a tough time doing that at the end of the day, and here's why. Because she's never created a job in her life, and at the end of the day, Donald Trump and the voters understand that businessmen have a lot of businesses. But Donald Trump knows how to create jobs.
And we will hear a more comprehensive response from Trump come Wednesday. But to you, Dave, I mean, just after the speech by Clinton, Trump's campaign launched this website, lyingcrookedhillary.com, saying that this website's going to showcase her disastrous lies. That page is blank right now, the last time we checked. But are you concerned that these labels, these insults that Trump throws at his opponents are sticking, especially when you look at Clinton's unfavorability ratings, and obviously this email scandal that she's embroiled in isn't really helping her credibility either.
Right, look, her unfavorable rating is hovering around 55%, but Donald Trump's is at 70%. And look, I think she understands fundamentally that she's got to sort of mirror Barack Obama's 2012 strategy against Mitt Romney, going in early, defining her opponent, hitting hard and hitting often. And that's precisely what she did 2 weeks ago with her foreign policy speech, and that's precisely what she did today on the economic front.
And it's remarkable that her numbers or negatives are so high despite Donald Trump just tripping over himself.
Right.
Donald Trump really has not gone negative yet.
Okay, so this line of attack from Hillary Clinton is very similar to the one they used in 2012 against Mitt Romney. He got rich by crushing the little guy. And again, Clinton tried to link Trump, the businessman, to Trump, the possible president.
He bankrupted his companies not once, not twice, but 4 times. Hundreds of people lost their jobs. Shareholders were wiped out. Contractors, many of them small businesses, took heavy losses. Many went bust. But Donald Trump, he came out fine. Here's what he said about one of those bankruptcies. I figured it was the bank's problem, not mine.
And Dave, I thought this one was particularly effective because it seems what she's doing here is going after Trump because he's campaigned on being the outsider, the guy who's going to stick up for those who are doing it tough.
Yeah, look, I think she's trying to undercut his message because, John, you're absolutely right. Jobs in the economy has been one of his strengths, at least in the primary campaign. We are seeing a shift, though. Monmouth University today put out a poll showing Hillary Clinton actually performing better on that issue than Donald Trump. She's at 47% to his 44%. And so we're seeing a shift, and I think part of that is because of these attacks. She's really sort of painting the picture that this is a guy who's out for himself. He's a greedy fat cat millionaire who shipped jobs overseas for Trump clothing. He's scammed and committed fraud with Trump University, and he's gone bankrupt several times.
This is a dangerous moment for Donald Trump, because right now, if he doesn't regain control of the narrative, voters will buy into Hillary's frame that he exploits the worker, exploits the little man, what they did to Mitt Romney. What Donald Trump has to convince the American electorate is that, yes, he's a billionaire, but he's a blue-collar billionaire. He understands what it's like for the working man, and he's created more jobs than he's hurt.
I want to pick up on a point, though, that you brought up earlier, John, about polling. I mean, Clinton has 10 times the number of staff in her campaign, and she has a much bigger war chest than Trump has. I mean, don't you think, let me ask this to you, Dave, that Clinton should be polling better right now? She is ahead, I think, on average by 7 points, but and with all these resources, shouldn't she be way more ahead than she is now?
Look, I think it's largely a function of trends, and we've seen sort of a shift from the last 2 weeks. Once she's sort of beginning to unify the party, once Barack Obama, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden endorsed, and she's corralling support from Democrats and some of the Bernie Sanders folks, we're starting to see a trend. It's not just 7 points in one poll. Bloomberg last week had her up 12 points, and so I think we've seen a transition, and I think that transition is going to continue to grow as long as the Trump campaign remains in disarray.
He's absolutely got a problem. The fact that Donald Trump is getting crushed in the money games, the ad wars, he has to figure out how to make that up. But here's what I would tell Donald Trump if he's watching, is that the opportunity...
He watches us all the time.
I know.
He's tweeting it out right now.
Sure he is. But the opportunity is in the problem here. The fact that he's so dramatically being outraised, he needs to use that to highlight the fact that Hillary Clinton has taken more money from Wall Street than any presidential candidate in U.S. history, and remind Bernie Sanders people of why they disliked Hillary Clinton.
Funny you should say that, because Clinton also warned today that Trump would undo Wall Street reform. Listen to this.
Trump would take us back to where we were before the crisis. He'd rig the economy for Wall Street again. Well, that will not happen on my watch. I can guarantee you.
And John, to your point, this is one area where Hillary Clinton could be on thin ice.
Very thin ice. Politico ran a story earlier this week that said her Wall Street donors said, you can't choose Elizabeth Warren as your VP because Hillary, we know you don't believe the anti-Wall Street rhetoric, whereas Elizabeth Warren actually might hurt her cause. I think it's very thin, and it'll bring up the idea that she won't release her Wall Street speeches. I wouldn't go that route. There are many other places to attack Donald Trump.
Well, at an evangelical meeting of pastors, Trump brought this up about Clinton's faith. I want to have us listen to that first.
Anything about Hillary in terms of religion. Now, she's been in the public eye for years and years, and yet there's nothing out there. There's like nothing out there. It's going to be an extension of Obama, but it's going to be worse, because with Obama you had your guard up. With Hillary, you don't.
I mean, this isn't the first time that we've heard Trump question someone's faith. We've heard him question President Obama's faith, including Mitt Romney's faith. Is he really a Mormon? I think that's what he had said. Why does Trump continue to go there? Dave, I'll let you answer that.
He's a conspiracy theorist. I mean, the reality is people are shifting away from Donald Trump because they can't believe him anymore, right? He said that the Orlando shooter the other day was from Afghanistan when he knew full well that the guy was from Brooklyn, New York. And so the reality is, I mean, he says these sort of extreme radical things about people's religions or about where people are from throughout this campaign, and I think people are starting to not believe what he's saying anymore.
This is exactly why Corey Lewandowski, the campaign manager, needed to be fired. It's moments like this. This is not running a tight, disciplined campaign. There's plenty of things to attack Hillary Clinton on. Let's not get off on these
Look, she was pandering. Let's face it, that's the bottom line. He does it all the time. He's pandering to the crowd. He thought that's what they wanted to hear.
But he didn't need to go that far.
Exactly. Talk to you next hour. Thanks, guys.
Good to see you guys. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more from the race for the White House.